Welcome, guys. This is Manuel, and you're listening to Leap 27 Beyond Come As You Are podcast. Guys, this is the show that's going to provide a clear view towards leadership characteristics that focus on human qualities like empathy, humility, and diversity, in order to continue the responsibility of cultivating a culture of future leaders with great morals. Understand this, guys. We are already 4 episodes in. This is 3 episodes. This is the 4th one. It's pretty clear what we're trying to do. We are responsible for cultivating future leaders with great morals. This is what we need to do, and I need you to understand that this is the purpose of this show. Today, we're going to talk about enjoying every moment in life. Now, you know my co-host.
What's going on, everybody? Matthew. Y'all know me. I've been following this journey with you guys for the last 3 episodes now. Today's the 4th. I'm going to be sharing with you about my day. So last week, we started the first letter of LEAP, which is L. Love everybody. It was a little rocky, but we got through it. We continue to push through. If you haven't seen the video, I highly suggest you go back, follow the journey with us, check out the video. I recommend you start from the beginning and follow this journey step by step. Moving forward, remember, this is your journey. Let's not make it a chore. Let's not make it harder than what it has to be. With that being said, I'm going to assume you worked on your forgiving yourself, forgiving others, which will lead into compassion, which will later turn into a deep love for others.
Yeah, and the deep love that we're talking about, we're not talking about that intense feeling or that emotion. That's last video. We explained that. We're not talking about that type of love. We're talking about the love that sacrifices in all things. That's what last week's video was about. Learning how to love by making sacrifices, whatever that sacrifice is. Now, this type of sacrifice, this type of love, as you sacrifice whatever it is, your time, your money, your knowledge, your wisdom, you remember, you have to sacrifice something. You're going to see the transition in your life into the way that you think, and it's going to be enjoying every moment that comes your way. And that's good or bad. You're going to understand the statement of it rains on the rich as it rains on the poor. It rains on the warriors as it rains on the farmers. Your perspective during the storm is what is key into making sure that your journey towards happiness is made by choices of enjoying every moment.
You know, I'm 100% agreeing with you, my bro. It's exactly right. You have to learn how to enjoy every moment, and it's your perspective on how you look at what's coming towards you. My brother is actually going to explain his first experience with how he truly felt about the enjoyment of every moment. Even when it seems dark, he's going to share what it took to see the light and to see some happiness. Plus, I will be sharing with you my experiences and everything I do. I share it with you every week. I'm following you with you on this journey, and we're going to experience it together. And I'm ready to, because remember what happened on last week's show. It was different nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, last week If you guys only knew, I'm a former Marine, so I over prepare for everything. Also, in construction, I was taught measure twice, cut once. So, bottom line is I prepare and then I prepare and then I more prepare just to make sure that I prepare. So, I'm prepared to present what I need to for you guys. It's just like I got this concept from a marathon runner or from a meter runner, like the 100 meters, 200 meters. Look at those guys, the people that train in the Olympics. They train for 8 months. And do you know how far 200 meters is? That's like seconds. Seconds of glory with 8 months of training. That's kind of like the way that I view life, and that's the way that I do everything. So, like he said, with last week, zero material. Actually, let's just say 0.5% material. And God's abundance and wisdom that came out was amazing. And that just made me, as I was editing, I wanted to open up the Bible and just read God's word to confirm what was being revealed to me as I was speaking it. And I highly recommend you guys do the same. This is a learning experience. Experience, guys. Take the time to experience life the way that it's supposed to. All right, guys, so buckle up. This is Leap 27 Beyond. Come as you are. It's about to start right now, guys. We are beating tyranny. We are developing men. We are developing women. We are developing people to overcome this immoral world. Stay tuned, guys.
I just want to take the pain away. Pop a couple pills and maybe fade away. I love drinking all day. They ask me if I have a problem, I reply, no way. I drown out the voices I hear in my head. On repeat, telling myself that I'd be better off dead. All you see is the outside of me, cause on the inside, I'm just dying to be free. So I argue with myself back and forth and back, tiptoeing on the edge once.
You guys ready? You guys ready on the journey towards happiness? Using love to transition into enjoying every moment in life. This is my story, guys. So, as I was going through my journey, I noticed that pure enjoyment was a choice. And not only was it a choice, but an opportunity to feed your love. It created this opportunity. So as you were feeding your love, as you were getting that peace, it was creating a heart of purity, of unity, of what Jesus was talking about, the peace that I leave. You know, this is what this love was creating. So, haven't you heard that little saying, happy wife, happy life? My wife and I always joke around about that. You know, she always says, if you want me to be happy, make sure my coffee is ready, my breakfast is ready, and depending on the time and every effort that you put in it, that's going to start my day. So it's happy life, happy wife, happy life. And don't you think that this is held up true today as a human being characteristic? I mean, the more that you choose to enjoy yourself, the more that your light inside of you shines bright towards others. Now, you got to understand this. When you've been in a depression your whole life, misery loves company. You attract misery. You attract that darkness, that negativity in your life. Now, if you're watching the video, you have to be tired of the negativity because we don't speak negativity. We're using the testimony of negative situations as my own. I'm owning up to it and I'm showing you a positive insight so you can learn from it and you can see through your stories and your change how you can make a difference. So when you start enjoying life, you may start with a little flicker, but the people around you that are still stuck in that darkness, understand they're going to feel very uncomfortable around you. Darkness does not like light. Just even a little bit of flicker can, shed light to a whole warehouse. So know that during your walk towards enjoying your life, during your walk of making this choice to enjoy life, the people around you, they don't have to make that same choice. That's their decision and you can respect that. You don't have to accept it. And the way you don't accept it is whatever decisions or negativity that they must have, then guess what? You don't have to engage in that. Again, easier said than done, but there is a formula. And if you use it, you'll understand how moving forward in life through new experiences, you're teaching yourself how to re-enjoy life. Understand, enjoyment is something. Happiness, this joy is something that we're born with. And as we live through life, our experiences shape and mold the way that we think to make it seem like it's a bad thing or a good thing. But understand, this has been going on through many times from the day of Adam and Eve. Everybody has read this story of Adam and Eve in Genesis. I know every single time I mess up and I say I want to read the Bible, I always start with Genesis 1 and I start from there. And maybe I get no further than 16 and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm blessed with the Holy Spirit. I feel good and I can conquer the world. But again, that's not true. But I've read the Adam and Eve story so much. I've heard different variations of it being told. I've heard just so much about Adam and Eve, Adam and Eve, Adam and Eve. I want you to understand something about Adam and Eve. When God created them, all they knew was happiness. They were already in the Garden of Eden. They were already in a heaven-like state. They were in the greatest place ever. Have you ever thought about that? Put your emotion, not the words, put your emotion. They were in a place of eternal happiness. But you see, Adam loved his wife so much that when she did something that she wasn't supposed to, Adam did it too. And he endured the same punishment as Eve. And I don't mean the same punishment as a woman and a man. They go through their own different consequences in life, but they both were on a new venture. They both experienced joy and happiness, and now they're on a new adventure. They don't know what they're going to make of it. What they do know is it's not going to be anything better to what they've already experienced. And that's the struggle. And the problem with most of us is we've never even experienced joy except for when we were kids. That's the Garden of Eden in our hearts. And as we grow older, we lose sight of that joy. Why do you think Jesus said, have the faith of a little child? It's because of that joy. They don't let life beat them down. It hasn't bruised them or burdened them enough to fill their lives with so much negativity or distractions that they lose sight of the one purpose that they're supposed to be doing in their life. Learning how to enjoy your walk is a new experience. Adam and Eve loved each other so much that as they walked through their new life, they transitioned their experiences to learn how to enjoy it together. How do I know? Because if they didn't, they wouldn't have been able to keep continuing and continuing to birth nations, to create what we have now. They were learning. They weren't depressed. They weren't stuck in the, oh, we messed up. We had something good. Now we're not going to need anything. They found the joy in life in what they were doing. Isn't it funny how right now you have some sort of joy in your life right now, but the person next to you or your friends or anybody, because it's not what they enjoy, they belittle you or they poke fun of you. So now all of a sudden it's like not as fun as what you thought it would be. That's robbing you of your joy. That is what you chose to have. That is your inner peace. That is your seed. You have to hold on to that type of joy, because that type of joy, remember, is a choice that's going to lead you into the pursuit of happiness. Now, I like to start off with the verse. I just wanted to open up with that. Enjoy every moment. This is coming from Acts 2:28. It says, "You have made known to me the ways of life. You will make me full of joy in your presence." Now, it's very short and it's very simple, but I love this because in my eyes, when this is being read, it says, "You have made known the ways of life." That is your list that you wrote from week 1. That was your bad list. And then you transition into week 2. Now your wisdom list. Then you transition all of that into loving, which it starts with what? Forgiveness. It starts with compassion, and it turns and manifests into true, pure love, something that you can share with others. Now we're transitioning that love into enjoying life. Now that you're not so agitated and frustrated with everything, and now that you're loving life, you're going to see how easy it is to enjoy and transition this. That's what this thing is saying. You've made known the ways of my life. Now that you've made known the ways of your life, now that you know all the bad, you transition to it and you found the good, you will make me full of joy in your presence. That means from here on out, your walk, you're going to be full of joy. But where do you put your joy? Remember, there's such things as too much. I broke it down that I've always seen that there's 3 levels of joy. There's physical enjoyment, there's mental enjoyment, and there's spiritual enjoyment. Now, the physical enjoyment consists of eating, exercise, hygiene, sleep, sex, that gratifying stuff right now. When you reward yourself, your mind says, I enjoy this. I'm having a good time. Doesn't matter what it is. A beer, some people consider that a reward, but it causes a negative consequence. Understand that. Not all joy is wrapped in God's love. There's deceptive joy. Alcohol is one of those deceptive joy. Drug is one of those deceptive joys. You enjoy it while you're doing it, but while you're doing it, you're ruining the people around you, or you're hurting yourself physically. So it's a deceptive joy. This type of joy is more physical, but you have to do it in abundance. What I mean is, when you eat, isn't there overeating? That's hurting you. See, God is giving you something that's pure, which is eating, exercise, hygiene, sleep. But the devil takes it, oh, you can overeat. Why don't you look like Brad Pitt or look like this famous person and over-exercise? Or hygiene, you don't have to be clean, you don't have to whatever. So You are what you represent yourself. Sleep, let me take away your sleep by giving you more entertainment and drowning you and flooding you with so much information that your mind is not going to be able to function. Sex, let me throw porn where it's just free and it's easy access. So it's just sex, 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 sex all day long. You can't even watch normal television without sex. Abundance, abundance, abundance. So overwhelming. And then you wonder why you're not enjoying it. It's because, remember, enjoyment, there's a deceptive side. You also have the mental enjoyment. That's art, that's literature, that's music, that's television, that's computer. That's what I just said. Computer and television, we used to think it was something for a positive thing, but now it's getting to the point where it's just a distraction. Your phone is a distraction. There's positive things, but that's if you can use it in moderation. None of us can use things in moderation. We just want to keep going. We live in a world where it's just fast paced. Everything is computer. Everything is the phone. Everything is digital. Fast food, everything. Fast. Training ourselves for a mental enjoyment means slowing everything down. And the last one is the spiritual enjoyment. Now, you have to understand a spiritual type of enjoyment is a different level of enjoyment. This aligns your physical and your mental enjoyment. Now, I will be talking about this type of enjoyment, but the way that anyone will learn this is through experiences. And this experiences has to turn your eyes into like a humility. You have to be very humble about the situation that's at hand. And this is my story. So the best way that I can teach about enjoyment is by my most painful memory, and that is the death of my father. Now, understand, my father is a good man. He's a great man. He prepared himself as best as he could and got the education that he could up until the point where he was a parent. And unfortunately, his parenting skills reached a certain level to where it allowed him to only teach or do certain things of his understanding. And that's it. That's all I can say about that. So me and him, we had a lot of differences. We did not have a good upbringing. But at the time, I was going through something really bad. I was drinking heavily. I was living at a hotel room. And my father was just down the street. Now, he didn't want me over at his house because he was scared of me because I was drinking and drugging hard. I was going through another phase where my wife didn't want anything to do with me. Nobody wanted anything to do with me. But yet my dad and I, even though he didn't want me at his house, we were getting closer. 2 days before he passed, again, I did not know that he was going to pass. 2 days before he passed, at that hotel, they had an empty bar and grill. And we were talking about turning that into a barbecue place. This is 2 days before he passed. We were having fun. Even though the drinking and drugging was involved, we had good memories. We were healing. The day before he died, we talked, and I remember we went to dinner, and he said, we're going to go fishing. We planned to go fishing the next morning. And I remember I woke up at 7 a.m., cracked open my beer, and I was ready. I was gung-ho, and I called, no answer. For 2 hours, I was calling. Nothing dawned on me because all I cared about was my beer. But when I walked into his apartment, I walked into his last breath and had to revive him. And, long story short, it was very emotional roller coaster. I mean, I lost him through life itself, through his addiction, through his pain, through his suffering, through everything that he carried over to me. I mean, that's what I was battling right then and there. That day I learned a very valuable lesson. We were all just a mist and can fade away at any time. Never once did I think my father was going to pass. And like that, he was gone. One thing in life is inevitable. and that's death. So how can I enjoy the most excruciating pain that I was feeling right at that moment? Now, I wish I can say that I got over it very quickly, but I didn't. I held on to my father's old life in my memories that I stopped living altogether. Everyone else kept living and I shut down. I stopped. My father's death not only killed me or killed him physically, but it killed me emotionally, which was destroying me physically. I was drinking harder. I was drugging harder. I was chasing after whatever it was that I was chasing after. I was running away from things that I shouldn't have been running away from. So I was very stagnant in my life. And it took a very long while before I realized how to cope with it and move on. Now, the first part was that I realized that it was okay to feel the way that I was feeling. You got to understand, I was hurt. I was angry. We were supposed to go fishing. When they told me what happened, I was even devastated. When I had to make the decision to pull the plug, I was lost, confused. I mean, I had every emotion known to man. But what I didn't know was I had every right to feel that way. I had every right to talk about it, but I didn't have every opportunity to talk about it. See, people wanted to hear the good things, but they didn't want to hear the reality. Because when a person is dying, they don't want to hear reality. I didn't want to hear reality. Even to this day, I don't want to hear reality. It's easier to think of something else, but the reality of it is something happened and it really destroyed me emotionally, physically, mentally, and I needed to find it. Now, these feelings were necessary for my development. The problem was that I was masking them rather than embracing them. It's like going to the gym for the first time and you work out for hours and hours and hours. And what do you do at the gym? It's like you haven't worked out in 20 years, so your body hasn't had time to recoup. So you can go on and you think, man, this is easy. It's like when I was in high school. But then that next day comes and the soreness sits in and now you can't even move. What do we end up doing? We mask it with painkillers. Instead of coping with it, instead of embracing it, the pain is your body saying, hey, you went too far. Whatever you thought you were doing, you're wrong. And this is the consequence that you have to pay, good or bad. During the time, it was a good idea, but in abundance, it was too much. Now you're laying there crying and hurting. What are you going to do? Are you going to learn from it? The next time you go to the gym, are you going to spend 2-3 hours? No. That doesn't mean to give up. And that doesn't mean to overdo it either. This is a life lesson that it teaches you on enjoyment. Now, in the Bible, it talks that there's a time for everything. This is Ecclesiastes 3:2-8. And the one thing that I focused on is there was a time to laugh and a time to cry. And I mean, I don't remember all of it verbatim, but there is just a list of a time and a time and a time. And that's when I've been realizing that I have been crying for so long. This time that it keeps talking about, why was I not moving forward into happiness? It didn't make any sense. And I remember one day I was praying and I had an old clock, one of those circle clocks with the hour hand, the minute hand, and the second hand. And I remember as I was praying, I was looking at it and I lost sight of my prayer. And sometimes I do that. I feel so guilty. I'm in deep prayer and then I just get lost inside. And then 5-10 minutes later, I'm like, oh my goodness, I was praying and I jumped back in it. But I was getting lost in the clock and I do not know why. But within a matter of minutes, a lesson was just in that clock on time and how to enjoy it. And what I had noticed was there were 3 levels to this clock. There's the hour, there's the minute, there's the seconds. Now the seconds was going very fast, just click, 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 going just as fast as it could go. And then you had the hours. It was just moving so slow. I mean, like moving like molasses. That's how slow it was. And then you had the minute. It was right there in the moment. Every second, every little moment that was going on, it was experiencing the same thing that I was experiencing it. But by choice, at that moment, I could choose to be happy and embrace everything or not. Now, when I saw that, it just broke down into like a parable. It's like most of us, we live in the hour, arm section of the clock where we're stuck in a moment. We're stuck in depression. We're stuck in addiction. And these are the negative ones that we're stuck in. Some of us, we succeeded and we're stuck in that. We forgot that where we came from and all the people that helped us. And then we get stuck in the success and we forget to pay it forward and help others. Remember, there's different levels that we can get stuck, that we may think that it's enjoyment, but like I told you, it's masked. That type of enjoyment leads to pain and suffering when the other type of enjoyment leads to purity. Then you have the seconds. It goes so fast that it can't enjoy anything. It's just click, 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 click. It's just constantly collecting, collecting, collecting. How many of us are there? We're just working, working, working. We have the boats, we have the cars, we have the trucks, we have the house, we have everything. But yet what we don't have is the time with our children. We don't have the time with our wives. We don't have the date nights with our wives. We don't have the connection, the intimacy, the love. But yet we have everything else that when it's all said and done and it's time to slow down, we don't even know how to enjoy everything that we worked for. It's very few of us that are living in the moment, enjoying it as it comes. And that's what that minute hand represents. Now, my dad, when he died, I had to come to realize that we both were suffering from a common enemy. This enemy was addiction. This enemy was a destroyer. This enemy has killed millions and will continue to kill millions. This enemy has destroyed families. This enemy has destroyed a lot, and it will continue to. Now, that enemy, after I realized and I met it face to face, that means I met it through my dad. And then after I succeeded there, I went through my eternal darkness and I met that head on. That's when I came into a crossroads in my life. Now, I could either feel sorry for myself and be like my father and pass away and let it beat me, or someday I can utilize everything that he taught me, sharpen my sword through education, through wisdom, through knowledge that I gained in clinics, through therapists, through counselors, through AA, through NA, through the VA. I collected everything and fight back against this addiction and bring this leap to you guys to find your happiness again. You don't even have to be addicted to drinks. You could be addicted to television. You could be addicted to phones. You could be addicted to anything that you want. There's a lot of addictions that are out there. So that was the moment that addiction was no longer a thorn in my flesh. Time taught me that crying is just the body's mechanism towards healing. The more that I mourned, the less that I scorned. I want you to say that to yourself. When you're in a place that your body just wants to cry, don't hold it in, because when you hold it in, it turns to anger because your body is not allowing it to release. So if it doesn't release something, the only thing that it can turn into is bitter and angerness, because your body naturally needs to let it go. That is what forgiveness is letting it go. So when your body is telling you to mourn, let it go. When you mourn, you scorn less, guys. So how did I turn in something so tragic into joy? I took all the good my dad taught me. I weeded out all the bad. Every negative thing that my dad represented, I weeded it out through my actions. Every decision that I made in drinking and doing bad and drugging and not teaching my children, I weeded all that stuff out. And I transitioned to all the good characteristics that my dad represented, which my dad represented many good characteristics that I'm exhibiting right now as we speak. So I turn this pain right now into my strength. That's why I'm able to share this with you. And I will never again let what my dad did in vain. My dad passed away because he wasn't able to beat it. If I pass away, I let his passing be in vain. And then the curse carries on. The only respect that my dad had for me was he at least let me have close to 40 years of my life. I wasn't even giving that to my own children, because at the rate that I was going, my children, right now, my children are 6 and 12. And I wasn't even going to live to be right here, right now. So I didn't even give my kids anything like that. So I was worse. So I weeded all of that stuff out. And I said, I will never let my dad's death be in vain. My dad's fight was real. And even though he couldn't beat his addiction, he gave me the tools that I needed to overcome everything, to learn. I just needed the strength. And that's where I found my strength. And what I'm sharing with you through Christ Jesus. That's where my strength was found. And I'm very bold to say it. But this is the opportunity for you to find through your own experiences by the formula that I'm sharing with you right now. This works. I am letting you know. I promise you today, enjoy this moment right now. Trust me when I say this moment will pass. When you turn this video off, moment is over. What did you learn from this? What experiences did you take from this? As you're learning, what are you going to use for the rest of the week to enjoy yourself? Take what you learned. Start building your life. Take your wisdom list, your love, and start enjoying yourself. Embrace every emotion, good and bad, and understand that when it's over, there will be no more. And that's good and bad. Okay, so now that I explained to you my experience with my father, again, the transition, this took many, many years. It sounded easier as I was reading it, but it was a lot of emotions, a lot of chaos, a lot of drinking, a lot of bad choices, a lot of arrests, a lot of eternal darkness that I had to go through before it sunk in. All of the reading as I was in those dark places, all of the prayers that people gave for me, everything, I had to educate myself. And again, at the time, I didn't know I was educating myself. You may be in that moment where it seems so helpless. How do you enjoy in all this? Trust me, it's not fun. But if you educate yourself, you're planting seeds, you're preparing for when the joy does come. And that's what I was doing. But again, I didn't know at the time. I was able to share this story with you without emotionally breaking down. But why am I able to do it? Because emotionally, I'm equipped. I was able to embrace everything and accept it and move on to something better. Now, guys, I just recently learned death, it's scary. Let's just be realistic. It's scary. What happened to my dad was an untimely thing, and it brought some emotions that were just very bad, and it was hard for me to move on. But what if we reverse it? What if death is at your door? What if you have a disease and they tell you you have only so long to live? How do you enjoy life from there? How do you move forward? Guys, this is something that's hard, and making a transition, trying to teach enjoyment to people that say, you know what, forget you. You don't know. Wait till you are stuck with my position. I don't ever want that. And I don't pray that on anybody. But can I give you a little bit of a piece? Can we all get a little bit of a piece? I can say this. What's the one thing that you did in your life that was so scary that your whole body, fear just tightened you up so much that you couldn't breathe, you couldn't move, you couldn't do anything? You didn't even want to go to the next level. Think of that one feeling, that one emotion, that one moment. Did you break through that fear? That everything that you were scared of, that everything that was keeping you from that one moment, the one time that you were supposed to be scared, in that moment, all the nights that you didn't sleep, all the wakeless, sleepless nights, all of the worrying and getting angry, and just your focus is strictly on this one moment. And then that one moment comes when you are supposed to be eternally scared and you are supposed to freeze, because that's what everything has been telling you. Your mind has been telling you everything, all the negative things. And then you come to that one moment and you realize it's one of the greatest feelings and one of the greatest memories that you'll ever have. That it wasn't as bad as you thought. All of a sudden, the rewards come with it, and you just feel like, man, it wasn't so bad. This was the greatest thing ever. Now this is a memory in my book. This is the new change in my life. This transitions everything. This changes all of my moods, all of my mode of thinking, everything. Guys, anybody and everybody can tell you what they want to tell you about death. I cannot. I'm not here to tell you that. They can say I died and I came back and this is what I saw. Medically, they can say this part of your brain does that, which subdues this and that. You search for death and you will get every viewpoint known to man, and accept whatever viewpoint that keeps you going. What I can tell you is this. Think of death as that moment. You're scared. You don't know how to enjoy life. And you're going to be worried all the way up into that moment. But just like in your past experiences, you've overcame fear. And if you learned anything from that, you know that you don't have to worry through the whole journey. All you have to do is enjoy it, because when death comes, when it comes knocking on that door, just like your fear, when it came and you took a stand and you overcame it and you broke through the barrier and you saw the benefits to it, that's the next part of your journey that no one else can explain. They can tell you you're going to hell. They can tell you you're going to heaven. They can tell you this. They can tell you whatever you want to believe. But at the end of the day, you break through the barrier of fear and you go to the next level, which is going to be eternal happiness into something else. But that's your choice.
That moment is gone. Think of death as a moment in time when you are just scared. And yet you pursued it. I explained that to you. Think of it like that. Would you be able right now, if I asked you to explain the color red to a colorblind person? Right now, would you be able to describe the color red to a person that is colorblind? I want you to use that same concept. Think about how you would describe that. When you pass, when it's your time, and God asks you to describe life, and you never lived it to the fullest the way that you were supposed to by enjoying it through inner peace, not enjoying through deception by alcohol and drugs and abundance and eating and abundance and television and abundance and phone. That is all a destruction to hurt you. I'm talking about enjoyment in purity through love and the sacrifices, by taking every moment and embracing it, whether it's in death and understanding that it's just another doorway of fear, that when you break through it, beyond it is something glorious, because every time something that scared you was stopping you, you broke through it and you realized the learning experience that when you broke through it, what you were supposed to be scared of, you were never scared of. Now you're embracing all the glory. Every day that you're walking in life, I heard a story, an amazing story. This person said, I'm going to give you $5 million, but you're not going to breathe tomorrow morning. Would you take it? Everybody's like, no. Why? Are you telling me your breath is worth more than $5 million? Why are you not thinking like that every day? Think about that. Experience is everything, and perception is key, guys. That's what we're learning right now. That's what we're teaching you. You need to experience everything through joy, through love, the way God intended it. And you perceive every moment. Don't think of it as a bad thing. Think of it as a learning experience. Think of it as something you'd never experienced before. Think of it as putting a tool away, as a deposit in a bank, so when it's time to withdraw, you'll be able to get it. Maybe all of these pain and suffering is something, so when you overcome it and you get the wisdom and the knowledge that you gain from it, the next person in line is going to come to you and be like, I'm going through this. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I've been through that. I can help you out with some advice if you need it. Perception is key. Guys, in closing, this is my story. So I leave you with such a great saying. I want you to meditate on this, guys. Today, practice your meditation. Sit back for about 10 minutes. Give yourself 10 minutes to just breathe and clear your head. And I want you to practice this. This is something I want you to really think about. This was said by Bruce Lee. And he said, to spend time is to pass it in a specific manner. To waste time is to expend it thoughtlessly and carelessly. We all have time to either spend or waste, and it's our decision to do what we want with it. But once time is passed, it's gone forever. That's it, guys. When the time is past, there is no regrets. There is no consequences. The moment is gone forever. What are you going to learn from that time that passed? What enjoyment are you going to get out of it in that moment? Today, live as if I told you that this was your last breath. Enjoy yourself. Guys, it's not about how much money you have. It's about what can you do right now. You have everything that you need. You have every tool inside that house, inside that apartment, inside that whatever. Because let me tell you something. You have worked your hours. You have worked your months. You have worked your years. You have built a legacy, whatever legacy that is, whether it be your apartment, your house, your cars, your toys, your games, your whatever it is. You have built this up that you do not need any more money. All you need is time to learn to enjoy everything that you built up to this point. Let's do that this week, guys.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Powerful message from my brother. Wanted to take this time to just soak in that information and see how you guys felt about it. Make sure to definitely comment, like, and subscribe. So this is my part where I jump into it, what I lived and how I enjoyed my moments. So my moments are, like I said, a little bit different than everybody else's. The first part of my week, it was a little hard to enjoy. My job switched, different times, different schedules, different hours to go in. So it was a little bit stressful at first just because I had to adjust my sleep situation, but it did give me some family time. Guys, family time is something that we need to cherish a lot more. Yeah, guys. So I'm enjoying, every moment. A joke that me and my kids always have is, I make everything a life moment. I make everything a teachable moment. And it's funny because I do it so often that they will actually be in front of me, do something or say something, and I completely turn it into a teachable moment. Wait, hold on, guys. Look, in life, this is how it's gonna be. And my daughter and my son will actually look at each other, and here we go, teachable moment. If you could see it on TV, it'd be like, da-na-na-na, teachable moment. And that is always the joke around the house. But I enjoy doing things like that because I'm enjoying teaching my kids what I feel I wasn't taught. I feel I had to, and when I said I feel I have to, I was responsible for 90% of the stuff that I've been through, or why I didn't enjoy every moment, why I was unhappy, why I was in a dark place, why I would continue to drink, why I would abuse certain drugs. I've done it. Why I ended up in prison for 2 years away from my son. Yeah. So I put myself in that predicament of not enjoying that moment. And so being able to talk to my kids, my children, teaching them about life before they can experience it. So that way, when it does happen, when it does kick in, that, well, we know about this. My dad talked to us about this. It might be a joke at the time, but they know that I'm speaking some serious stuff to them, and I'm really, encourage trying. And not only that, actually this week something happened at work. Speaking about work, let's go back to that real quick because I got to enjoy something at work. Actually, there was 2 employees that I work with, very nice people. They needed some information, and as I proceeded to talk and give them the information that they needed, or just give my opinion about what the situation that they are going through, they actually heard the words that I said, listened, took it to heart, came back the next day, said that they used it in their life, and said, this is what, Matt said. I led them to the website, and I told them this is what we do. We want to give useful and positive information to everyone, because that life, we've lived it, we've been through it, and we've destroyed a lot of things in our life. Now it's time to rebuild. I have been rebuilding, not only just rebuilding, but starting with a foundation first, which is God first. My personal opinion, I'm leaning on Him. I'm trusting in Him because I've done other things. I've seen other things. But when you're by yourself and you really have to think about something and you have to put it in words or you have to describe it, then that's God for me. When I was alone, when I was at my lowest, I'm tired of not enjoying every moment. I'm tired of not enjoying not even one moment. I need to enjoy everything in life. Yeah, I can complain a little bit, but who can't complain? But you complain, you let it out, you keep moving forward, you keep pushing, you keep progressing. I'm tired of staying stagnant, just sitting there. For what? Let's move forward. Let's continue to push, which leads me into the, later part of my week. Now, here's the later part of the week. It's Thursday. Me and my brother, we have a good conversation outside. Opens up my eyes about a few things. Yes, there is a few things that I still need to progress at. We all have a few things that we can still progress at. And when we do those things, there's still more. You just got to look in your life and not look at them as faults, but we said it last time, teachable moments, teachable lessons. And we make sure that we learn from these mistakes or bad habits or whatever we do, and we let them go. That's how we're going to enjoy every moment. You continue to hold this baggage over your head, trust me, you're not going to enjoy the moment, whatever it is, or you're going to fake the enjoyment and be like, okay, yeah, having a good time. Are you having a good time? Or are you just going through the motions? Are you masking the pain with drugs, alcohol, food, working out, whatever you do, whatever you think you do in excess of to replace some of your feelings or some of the things that you're going through? Let it go. Make room for the positive stuff in your life so you can enjoy every moment. I get here. I know what I want to talk about, but this new way that we're doing things is a little bit different. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I am enjoying talking to you guys, bringing my truth, bringing my journey with you guys. And I enjoy being able to not only help myself, but help others as well, and to be open with you guys. So pulling up, I have what I want to say. I know how I want to put it, but now something just kind of held me back a little bit. Why? I'm not sure. Is it pride? Is it not knowing what to say, nervous, scared? Not sure. But I know one thing, that whatever comes to my mind, it's because God has placed it there for a reason and has put it there for a message to someone out there. So if I have said anything to touch your heart that makes sense, to help you in any way, well, that's what we're here for. We need to be here for not just me, you, but your community, your kids, your family. Show your face. Be able to talk to people with your head held high. I've hung my head down low for too long, not being able to talk to people as an adult, but that time is over. It's time to take that step. It's time to grow up. It's time to say, hey, I'm here and this is how I'm living from now on, and I'm going to enjoy it. Now, whether you want to enjoy it with negative things, with positive things, with your uppers, with your downers, with your lefts and your rights, whatever you choose to do with it, you have to take responsibility for that. So remember, at the end of the day, it's all on you and what you want to do.
All right, guys. This is our show. It's a little bit different. As you can see, we did an individual holding of the mic and telling the story because we heard it and we just enjoy the vocals so much more. So what we're going to do is we're just going to be passing it for right now. Now, come Friday, we're going to be getting some more equipment and we're going to be able to have 2 mics going. So I'm excited about that. But what he just said in closing, guys, enjoy every moment. You heard my story. I was talking about the deepest, darkest place in my life. And somewhere along the lines, it took many, 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 many years to find and embrace the enjoyment. Once I found it, when the next person died, it took less years. And then the next person less and less, to where now the 2 people most recently that died that were real close to me, it started to turn into months. I still mourn, but just in a different way. When I hurt, I know they don't want to see me crying and drinking. They want me to enjoy life. So that's what I do. I take the baton, I take the characteristics that are good, and I run with it, and I enjoy it, and I live my life because that's what they want. They didn't train me to be miserable and depressed. They trained me to enjoy everything. As for my brother's perspective, he was telling you as his everyday walk, what he was going through. In his story, you have to see the miracles. You have to see, because in your story, when you start walking, you're going to see the little hidden opportunities that God has for you to enjoy everything. With my brother, when he talked about his teachable moments, it's so hilarious because I get to see it. That he's trying to be dad of the year and me understanding what he's doing, because our parents didn't do that. And his kids look at each other and they have this code. It's a brother-sister code, like, oh God, here comes Socrates, here comes Moses or whatever, Wisdom King, you know. It's hilarious because they don't understand that my brother and I had that same thing when our parents would try to discipline us in their own way, whatever it was. And it's just hilarious. So that right there is an enjoyable moment. That's a memory. See, there's no money in the world that my brother is ever going to want when he's at his deathbed that I talked about. He's going to want to enjoy that moment in life all the way up to the doorway, because that's what's going to carry him through the fear that once he gets to that doorway, the new journey in your life, whatever it may be, comes your way. To perspective, guys, enjoy every moment. It's what you make it. Enjoying life just takes a different perspective.
Guys, in closing, I just want to say that, yeah, I agree with what my brother said about the different perspectives that we had on, you know, his darkest place to my different times and, you know, way I'm looking at things now. And that's what it's about. You go through hard times. Now it's time to get some positive times and enjoy those moments as well. Don't beat yourself up. Enjoy the positive times. You deserve it. So keep your head up, keep your head held high, keep your mind strong, and one step at a time. As long as you're moving forward, you're never moving back.
Keep coming back, and more will be revealed.